To my friends, family, and all of the people who have supported me throughout my career. After taking a little time to reflect on recent events in my career, I have decided that it is time for me to retire as a professional fighter. In 2017, I boxed in front of a home crowd in Sheffield and became the WBA super middleweight world champion. After 4 attempts, I had finally fulfilled my childhood dream, and the experience was as great as I had always imagined it would be. It was, without doubt, the best moment of my career. Some of you might think it odd that I'm choosing this time to retire. I'm still young, still fit and healthy, and there are still some big fights out there for me. But it's for these reasons that I'm choosing to retire now. I have a young family at home. It's time to spend some of my better days with them. I don't want there to be a time where I'm too old to box on, or where an injury retires me in or out of the ring. Over the years, I have seen and sadly known the dangers of the sport, and I want to respectfully bow out while I'm at the top of my game. I've learned that doesn't always mean coming off the back of a win. I've boxed at the highest level all over the world. I've been a champion, and I'll be leaving the sport relatively intact. Boxing has been good to me, and I believe I have been good for boxing. I hope I have entertained you all. I have always strived to be the best fighter I can be. Although we step through the ropes on our own, of course, every fighter is backed by a team, and not just the ones in the corner. There are many, many people that have helped me on my way to fulfilling my boxing dreams, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank as many people as I can. Below are the people I would like to thank most, and a bit about how each and every one of them shaped me into the champion fighter I became. Those are the words of the Saint, George Groves, officially announcing his retirement from boxing. The list of people he wants to thank isn't here on this particular Instagram post. I'm not sure exactly where I can access it. Maybe on George Groves' official website, if he has one. I'll have a look and maybe do a follow-up video. But just to comment on the career of George Groves, he's had a fantastic career, but a very grueling one. That's the impression I've had. From the moment that he split up with Adam Booth, his career became a very, very difficult struggle from what I could see from the outside looking in. I mean, he split up with Adam Booth before his first world title fight against Carl Froch. And Adam Booth had been building George Groves for many years. So to fall out with Booth and to split up with him at that moment, right before your first world title fight in a very high pressure situation, that must have been traumatic. He came through and he put on a good performance against Froch, but he ultimately ended in heartbreak, with him being stopped in, what was it, the 9th round? Yeah, the 9th by TKO. Ended in heartbreak. He came back from that. He struggled to get the rematch. Remember, he had to force that rematch through. He fought the rematch at Wembley, 80,000 people famously, as Carl Froch likes to remind us. Groves was doing okay in the rematch, but he was ultimately knocked out and suffered heartbreak again. Then came the long, arduous process of rehabilitation. In his comeback fights, he didn't look particularly impressive, but he persevered, and George Groves has always been a very mentally strong character. And he had to show every ounce of that mental fortitude during his championship career and his career as a contender. So the long, arduous road back from the 2 back-to-back defeats to Carl Froch eventually culminated in a 3rd world title attempt against Badou Jack. And he came close to winning that fight on the cards, but again, no cigar. The world title eluded him. But he bounced back once again and was on the comeback trail. If we have a look here, he fought DeLucia, David Brophy, Martin Murray, Edouard Goodnecht, and that was a fight with a tragic ending. We still pray for Edouard Goodnecht, as George Groves does, to make as good a recovery as he possibly can. But these were tough fights, ultimately culminating in the 4th world title attempt against Fedor Chudinov. And it was 4th time, I don't want to say lucky, because George Groves earned every single penny that he made in his boxing career. It showed that persistence pays. If you stick at it, and you have the talent, of course, you may well be able to achieve those goals. Plenty of other fighters would have bowed out prior to their 4th world title attempt. But George Groves has made a sterner stuff. He persevered. He won the title against Chudinov in a tough fight. You know, this whole period of George Groves' career was a struggle. From breaking up with Booth here, because in the early years of Groves' career, he was a young, flash fighter, and he seemed to be flying. But from the split up with Booth on, it just appeared to be a grueling struggle for him. In and out of the ring. Particularly out of the ring, but also in the ring. A grueling struggle. After he beat Chudinov in a tough fight, he fought Jamie Cox, and that was one of his easier fights that he's had in recent years. He then fought Chris Eubank Jr., and he was putting on a masterclass display of boxing until, unfortunately, in the final round of the contest, he dislocated his left shoulder. And that really is indicative of the struggle that George Groves has been through in his career. It's bittersweet. There are so many highs, but there are so many lows that seem to follow on very closely. I guess the Eubank Jr. fight encapsulated that. After the Eubank Jr. fight in the World Boxing Super Series, there was a long wait. We didn't know whether he would actually face Callum Smith in the final, whether Eubank Jr. or somebody else would take his place. But ultimately, the final was delayed again to accommodate his recovery, and he eventually got his opportunity to take on Callum Smith in that final, but was soundly beaten by 7th round KO. Again, bittersweet, but as George Groves said in his statement, you know, he's boxed around the world, he's fulfilled his childhood dream, and maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm not in a position to be speaking for George Groves, but I can't help but feeling that the grueling nature of his career has probably taken his toll on him mentally, as tough as he is, because George Groves is much tougher than most other fighters, mentally, much tougher. But even as, you know, even someone as tough as George Groves has their limits. And after all the struggles he's been through, now to come back from a defeat, a comprehensive defeat, is his shoulder 100% fully recovered? Will it ever be the same again? Will he ever regain the form that saw him run Carl Froch so close, saw him beat James DeGale? Who could forget that when they were both very young fighters? I just feel like Groves' career has been such a monumental struggle. He's pushed himself so hard. He showed so much bravery, persistence, self-belief. It has to take it out of you eventually. No man has an unlimited supply of energy, you know? And when you've achieved as much as Groves has, why keep on taking those risks? Why keep on putting yourself through all that pain? The training camps, the psychological preparation, dealing with the injuries. He's got a young family, as he said, and it's time for him to spend some of his better years with them. So, yeah, from me, myself, Hatman, I salute George Groves. I hope he's very happy in retirement. And like he alluded to there, he's seen some tragedies in the ring. Firsthand with Edward Goodnecht. And we all pray for him, and I know George does as well. So he is still a young man. How young is he exactly? George Groves. You do the math. My math is terrible. He was born in 88. All right, so he must be like what is he, 30 years old now, about to be 31. So still a young man, but I know a lot of people wanted to see the DeGale rematch, maybe just to close out their careers. Maybe it's best that he doesn't go through that DeGale rematch. Given the up and down nature of his career, you know, maybe it's best he doesn't go through with it. I don't think he has anything else to prove. At the end of the day, he don't need the DeGale rematch, does he? He's beat DeGale. So he can bow out at this point and be cool. It's DeGale who's going to be frustrated. If anybody is out of the two of them, it's DeGale that's going to be frustrated that he didn't get the opportunity to run it back and reverse that loss. But yeah, I salute George Groves. He's given us some thrilling moments over the years, and I hope he'll be happy in retirement. You know, I always like to see fighters retire with all their faculties while they're relatively young, when they've made lots of money, as George Groves apparently has, so they can sail off into the sunset and continue, if they wish, to watch boxing from the safe side of the ropes. You know, maybe he can be a pundit or whatever the case may be, or maybe he's not that interested in being involved in the world of boxing, and that's cool too. So whatever he chooses to do, I hope he has a happy life, and yeah, I wish him much success in the future. Let me know what you guys feel in the comment section below about the career of George Groves and his decision to retire. It's happening, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.